documents that you provide during a short sale are going to have to be updated. So you're going to get phone calls from me that says, hey, it's been 30 days, I need to get updated pay stubs and bank statements from you. So be prepared to give those documents to your attorney. All right, now the big thing, the difference between a short sale and a foreclosure. I know Evelyn has printed off kind of a comparison sheet back there for you guys. So the stuff I'm going to tell you is going to be in that sheet. All right, if you lose your home to a foreclosure, you're going to be ineligible for a mortgage for about 5 to 7 years. If you lose your home in a short sale, it's really not losing your home but selling it, it's going to be more like 2 to 3 years. And a lot of people don't realize that. They say, well, I'll just let it go into foreclosure, I don't care, what's the difference? There's a huge difference. If you want to get a mortgage in the future, having a foreclosure on your record is going to really hurt you. Also, a foreclosure is going to hit your credit by about 250 points, whereas a short sale is only going to hit your credit by about 50 to 70 points. A lot of people don't know that either. Let's see. If a foreclosure, if your house goes into foreclosure at a public auction, it's going to sell for less than what you can sell it during a short sale. So, and a lot of people don't realize this, is that after the foreclosure, you still owe that money. It doesn't just magically disappear. They're going to auction off your house. So let's say your house is worth, you owe $200,000. They can only sell it at the auction for $100,000. You still owe $100,000. And the bank has the right to try to collect on that debt. They can garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts. If you have any other real estate, put liens against it. It doesn't just disappear. So in a short sale, you have the possibility of discharging that debt completely or limiting the amount of debt that you owe by signing some kind of promissory note to pay it back, or agreeing that you're only going to pay back a certain percentage, or even getting a 1099 issued so that you don't have to pay back any of it. All right, so let's see. Your lender cannot pursue a deficiency judgment and a 1099. That might seem like a lot of legal jargon. So what I mean by deficiency judgment is that if you owe $200,000, you can only pay off $100,000, you owe $100,000. That's the deficiency judgment. A 1099 is for IRS purposes for reporting of income. So they'll say, okay, you owe us $100,000 in income. Your bank can't do both. They can't say, give us $100,000 and we're going to give you a 1099, you're going to report it as income. It's got like a double whammy. They can't do both. They have to choose one or the other. All right, time frame for a short sale. Like I said, it really varies on who your bank is. I was talking to a couple earlier today, and they have Harris Bank. And I told them Harris Bank is great to work with. It's about 30 to 45 day turnaround time to get a response. Whereas if you're dealing with like Chase or WAMU, it's more like 4-month turnaround time. So it kind of does depend on who your bank is. Some banks are getting better and their procedures getting shorter, but there are some banks out there that are really difficult to work with. All right, the costs involved with a short sale. A lot of people ask me, am I going to have to pay you? Am I going to have to pay my realtor? Am I going to have to pay my utilities on my house, my homeowners association? In terms of me and the realtor, no. We get paid by the bank. In terms of your association dues and utilities, it depends. Some banks are willing to pay for those things. Other banks are not. So I always try to encourage people, if you can, stay current on your utilities and stay current on your association dues. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. We'll figure out a way to get them paid at closing. In terms of your real estate taxes, that's another big one too. A lot of people ask, well, I can't pay my taxes for this coming up year. What's going to happen? Your taxes, I usually tell people, don't panic. It's nice if you can pay them, obviously, but if you can't pay them, they will get paid in the short sale. What will happen with your real estate taxes if you don't pay them is that they'll go to a public sale and they'll be bought by a third party, and then we just pay them off at the closing. So you don't have to worry about it if you can't pay your taxes. All right, your secondary lien holders, which I mean by a home equity line of credit, credit card judgment, things like that. The first mortgage company dictates how much those people get paid. And typically they're only giving 8 to 10% to the secondary mortgage. So if your first mortgage was with Bank of America and your second was say GMAC, Bank of America is going to say, okay, GMAC, we're going to give you $2,000. Then GMAC is going to probably have to take it. I mean, how much more power do they have? It's either that or nothing. So most of the time the secondary mortgage companies will take what they're offered. All right, in terms of bankruptcy, I have a lot of people call me up and say, well, I've already filed bankruptcy. Do I even qualify for a short sale? Yes, you do. You can do a short sale anytime before you file bankruptcy, anytime during your bankruptcy, and anytime after your bankruptcy. If you file bankruptcy and then you decide, I want to do a short sale, but I'm in the middle of my bankruptcy, not the end of the world. What we have to do is get permission from your bankruptcy attorney and permission from the trustee handling your bankruptcy. Because in a bankruptcy, keep it simple, all of your assets are kind of frozen. So you can't go and start selling off things like your car, your house, your motorcycle. you have to get permission from the court and from the trustee. So if you're doing a bankruptcy, you get this letter from the trustee that says, I hereby authorize GMAC Mortgage to sell the house located at, 123 Apple Street. And then you'll be able to do your short sale. Now, I've only come across a few times where the banks don't want to do a short sale after the bankruptcy, and it was with Bank of America because they want you to reaffirm the debt that you owe to them. So I had 2 files where Bank of America said, we don't want to do short sale because you declared bankruptcy and you won't pay us back this debt. So it's just the house went into foreclosure. But most of the time they'll let you do a short sale even if you're in bankruptcy or have declared bankruptcy. All right. There's some miscellaneous stuff that I just wanted to bring up to you that I've encountered doing short sales. You cannot do a loan modification and a short sale at the same time. They contradict each other. A lot of people start off, okay, I can't make my payments anymore. Let's try a loan modification. And the loan modification either doesn't work out or it works out, but the payments aren't still low enough, and then they want to do a short sale. That's fine, but you can't try to do a loan modification and sell your house at the same time. It's one or the other. All right. If you're trying to do a short sale on investment properties, let's say you have your primary residence and then you bought a condo somewhere like in Algonquin. If you're trying to do a short sale on an investment property, there's a good chance that the bank might require you to sign a promissory note to pay back a portion of the debt. Or they might say, okay, sign this promissory note and we're going to put it as a lien against your current house. So you need to keep that in mind if you're doing an investment short sale. Let's see. Always be aware of your auction date. If you guys are in foreclosure and the auction date's coming up, it's a very critical date to make sure that your attorney and your realtor know. Because as soon as that house is auctioned off, if it sells to a third party, we're done and over with. You can't do your short sale anymore. All right. If your loan is sold, there's a lot of loans being sold right now. Like Taylor Bean and Whitaker declared bankruptcy and they sold their loans off to a whole bunch of other companies. You want to be aware of that. So we want to make sure we're dealing with the right company, and also the sale can possibly postpone your short sale. So if your mortgage gets sold, make sure that you're aware of it, your realtor and your attorney are aware of it. Okay, once you sign a contract, try not to take personal property out of the house that you told the buyer they were going to get to keep. We're going to get to keep. I've encountered this so many times where the house is under contract and my client said, okay, you can keep the refrigerator, the washer, the dryer, the dishwasher, and then they start taking stuff out of the house and they don't tell anybody, and we find out, a month down the road, well, they took the refrigerator, they said they were going to keep it. If you can, don't do that. It just causes too much chaos and it's horrible. But if you need to sell your stuff, try to make it work out a deal with the buyer to say, hey, listen, I'll sell you the refrigerator, the dishwasher, and the oven for this amount of money. Maybe you can try to work that out before you enter into the contract. If you don't like the terms proposed by your short sale, so let's say they agree that they're going to let you do the short sale, but they want you to sign a promissory note. They say, we're not going to let you off the hook for the deficiency. We want you to sign a promissory note for $10 grand, $100 a month over the next 10 years. You can always back out of your short sale and say, I don't like the terms that you proposed. I'm going to try to find a different solution. So you don't always have to lock yourself into the agreement if you don't like it. Winterization, I don't know if you've heard this term, but winterization is when the bank basically protects their interest in the property. They come and they winterize the house by turning off the water, turning the heat down low, changing the locks. Changing the locks is a big thing that scares people. This doesn't mean that the bank's taken your house. It means that they found out that the house was vacant and they're scared that there might be damage to it or vandalism. So they're going to come in and they're going to winterize the property. You are entitled to a copy of the key to your house. It's not that they've locked you out and said, go away, we own this property now. They're just protecting their interest in the house. So if your house gets winterized, or a friend whose house has gotten winterized, tell them not to panic and let them know that they're entitled to a key to their house. I've had people who are still living in their house, and all their stuff's there. And the banks have come and winterize the property when they're out at work. And they come home and the locks are changed. And they freak out. And there's some banks that are really aggressive with this, and it's horrible and it happens, so you need to be aware that if that happens to you, don't panic. Make sure if your short sale gets approved, make sure you keep all of your paperwork. I have a lot of clients who close on their house and then 2 weeks down the road, they're like, oh, I'm still getting collection calls, or I'm still getting this paperwork, and my loan's not closed out. It's going to take 30 to 45 days for everything to work its way out through the system. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. So make sure you keep all of your paperwork. If you have any money that's being held in an escrow account with your mortgage company for your real estate taxes or for your homeowner's insurance, you forfeit that money during the short